Sometimes I'll accidentally use like 30 packs in just one Sims build, and that's just horrible. It's embarrassing. It's not usable by anybody. Like, I have no excuse for this behavior. It is fun to use items from like all the packs, and a lot of people do like to see that, but it's also fun to make builds that are a little bit more usable by more people. So I feel like I kind of owe you a limited pack build today, and I was thinking that to mix things up a little bit, we might try to randomize which packs we use, because I have my favorite packs, so if it were up to me, I'd probably end up using the same things over and over. But if we let a randomizer tell us what to do, we're gonna end up experimenting a little bit more, so I think it should be more fun. Also, this thing behind me is my cat. A lot of you know this, but she had surgery earlier this week to remove a cancerous tumor on her leg. She's not thriving, I'm not thriving, and she's got a little flower cone on her head, so that's why she looks like that. I feel like I should mention it whenever she's there, just in case she like moves and scares you, or in case you're like, Kayla, why are you putting that thing on her head? Well, nobody likes it, trust me, but she has to have it so she won't hurt her stitches. It is unfortunately a necessary evil, but she does look kind of cute, so I'll give her that. So here's the situation. I used James Turner's random pack generator on his website to tell us 3 random packs to use, and we got wedding stories, eco lifestyle, and movie hangout stuff. And these are not really 3 packs that I would normally choose to put together. They are all completely different styles. In fact, wedding stories doesn't really have that much furniture at all, so I don't normally use it in builds because most of it is like wedding decor. Eco lifestyle has a ton of furniture, but it's very modern in style, and movie hangout has some nice furniture too, but it's really chaotic in style. This is like clean lines, no patterns, and this is like wild patterns, wild colors everywhere. So they kind of couldn't be more opposite, and that could either really work against us or work in our favor, because maybe the simplicity of eco lifestyle will help tone down the movie hangout stuff. I don't know. This is gonna be kind of a rough one. I think we have to build it in Tartosa just to make use of the wedding pack a little bit more, and I feel like it might be kind of fun to do it out here on this little island lot. So that's the plan, and in case it wasn't clear, I did actually already build this a few weeks ago on my Twitch channel. I do a lot of builds like this live on Twitch, so if you want to come by and watch my streams, I'll link them down below. My name's just lilsimsie on there. I play The Sims all the time, and sometimes I'll do some really big builds and then speed up the footage and post it on YouTube like this. So let's just go ahead and dive straight into the speed build, and I'll show you what I built. This one is actually not a big build, but it did take me a long time. It's only a 20 by 20 lot, so you would assume that it wouldn't be that bad, but because it was kind of weird, I struggled a lot with this one. I went back and forth so much. In fact, I actually kind of think it's a little bit ugly, if I'm being completely honest with you, which made me kind of sad because I loved the idea that I had. I was kind of trying to go for like slightly Greek villa vibes with the shape a little bit. I was sort of intentionally trying to make it a little bit weird. I knew that I had a lot of weird options for furnishings and colors, so I was just trying to embrace it from the get-go. You can see already that we've kind of got an interesting mix of doors and windows, and believe it or not, the windows with those shutters are from the wedding pack, and the front door is from movie hangout, and they actually have a perfectly matching swatch, and that never happens in The Sims 4. For 2 packs, especially 2 packs that came out at such wildly different times, to have a matching swatch is wild. Movie hangout came out in 2016, and wedding stories came out in 2022, so it definitely wasn't intentional that they match, but it is kind of a happy accident, so I tried to make use of that. So when I was first starting this, kind of all I knew was that I wanted to use those windows and that door. I didn't really have much of a vision otherwise. I was just trying to do something kind of funky with some bright colors, basically. I knew I also wanted to have some balconies and a lot of outdoor space. Because this lot is like on a little tiny island, I wanted to kind of make use of that and have a lot of outdoor space to look out at the water. And you'll notice that it's kind of a small house. It's actually only 3 bedrooms on the inside, which isn't really that bad. There's a primary bedroom downstairs and then 2 bedrooms upstairs. We have things like a pool and a fancy patio area. There's like 2 balconies. And at this point of the build, everything was going really well. We were kind of doing some weird stuff, but it was making sense. It was looking okay. We had an idea. It's when we get to the inside that things start to really fall apart. So I just want to warn you now that I think this house is kind of ugly, but like ugly in a cool way. Sometimes when I do Sims builds, I make them ugly on purpose. And this one's not ugly on purpose. I just got unlucky and I had to use movie hangout. But sometimes I do use things that I don't like intentionally just because it's kind of fun to try and mimic different styles and stuff. This is one of those times. items. I had to use a lot of things that I did not like in this build. I almost didn't realize just how much I don't like Movie Hangout. I think that Movie Hangout is interesting. It's got some fun gameplay to it, but the build items in it are almost unusable. And you'll kind of see once we get further into this, the only thing that I like from that pack, I fear, is the door. There's one nice front door and one nice interior door that has some pretty patterns on it, but all of the furniture is just so much. There's like so many wacky colors and patterns, and like it's really hard for me to mix and match them together. I've never been one for like a sort of eclectic style. I don't think that I'm good at pairing those things together anyway, but I think that those items are also just too much. Like they're so vibrant in color scheme and so vibrant in pattern that they're really difficult to use. Back in that era of The Sims 4, they did a lot more vibrant things. I mean, you can kind of look at the base game as an example. They have a lot of those like really heavily saturated colors that aren't that cute, like the yellow couch in the base game and that like hot pink magenta color on the base game items. All the base game stuff has like that same set of really busy swatches, and Movie Hangout kind of came out in that time where they were still doing a lot of that vibrant stuff. Now they're in more of a pastel era. There's a lot of like lighter, more muted colors coming out recently, which is definitely more my vibe. I don't really even know if it's like a sign of the times kind of thing, because 2016, it wasn't like they were doing really wacky bright colors, but maybe they were. I guess there was like the big chunky necklace bright color trend. I don't really remember. I was never trendy, so I don't know. It just was different. It was weird and I don't love it. I actually think that I wouldn't recommend that you get the Movie Hangout stuff pack. It's cute, but it's not that good. It's just kind of fine. It has a popcorn maker. It's got like these big movie screens, and your Sims can watch movies on the TV, and they are kind of fun. If you like The Sims and like Sims lore, the movies in Movie Hangout might interest you, but it's just like, it's not the best stuff pack. There's probably better ones that you could get, especially compared to like the more recent stuff packs, things like the new Home Chef Hustle pack and stuff. I would recommend so much more over this one. But of course, we had to use it here in this build, so I'm gonna be trying to figure out a way to make it all work. Eco Lifestyle was kind of like the bread and butter of this build. I was really sad that we didn't get a pack on the randomizer that had a kitchen set. I think that was the other biggest downside of this build for me, was that I really wished I had a new kitchen set from a different pack that I could have used. Maybe something from like Home Chef Hustle or Dream Home Decorator or something. I just really didn't want to use base game counters, so you'll see me struggle a lot with the kitchen in here. That was probably the hardest part. It was just so bright everywhere, and the base game counters just weren't really cutting it. Luckily, Eco Lifestyle has a ton of furniture otherwise, so we had a lot of stuff to pull from there, so it doesn't feel like a base game build. You know, sometimes when you do a build and it's like limited packs, just base game and this one kit, and it feels like you're making a base game house. If I did a build that was like just base game and the everyday clutter kit, for example, it's a base game house that has like some coat hooks and like headphones, you know? In this case, we have a ton of stuff to work with, so it was a bit better than that. And by the way, I did not use any kits in this build on purpose. I thought about randomizing one kit to try and use, but then I figured, you know, if we're trying to do limited packs, most people don't have the kits, so it probably makes the most sense to not use one. So I did not include any kits in this house. I'm kind of starting at this point though to figure out the layout of the interior and all of the color scheme. So this is where it kind of starts falling apart. You can see I've got this really colorful and very patterned rug. That's from Movie Hangout. So I was kind of trying to figure out a place to put it. I was struggling a lot because I wanted it to be sized up, but like sized up was too big and regular size was too small, so I was going back and forth a lot. I managed to use that rug. I've got some Eco Lifestyle couches. We have a Movie Hangout table, and those are actually Wedding Stories chairs. So I kind of mix and matched everything together in here. And you'll see the color scheme of this is gonna be such an ordeal. We're gonna be trying out different colors for minutes. I'm gonna change the color of the couch and the color of the curtains over and over and over again, but it took me some time to figure out the vibes of this room. It was not an easy process for sure. I think the layout came together quite nicely. We have like a nook for the kitchen. We've got the dining and living room all in one big space. It's very open, it's cozy, but it was the colors. The color of the kitchen cabinets, the kind of kitchen cabinets, the accent tile I wanted to use, columns. We have like no good columns in these packs. I'm actually sorry to anybody who watched me do this build live on my Twitch stream, because it must have been so annoying, me going back and forth as long as I did. When you watch it sped up like this, it doesn't seem bad because it's sped up. So it's like, oh, it took you like 5 minutes, that's fine. No, it took me hours. It was so bad. We were there for so long and I just kept changing my mind. But while I sit here and try and figure this this out, I have a couple of life updates for you. I often use these speed builds kind of like life updates. It's just a good time to come in and talk to everybody. First of all, maybe more of a big deal for you, Sims update. There was an SDX drop a couple days ago. Normally I make videos about stuff like that and like tell you all. I just couldn't because my cat had surgery that day. There's something to be said of this because we keep joking about how The Sims always has news on days that I am busy, and I'm not often busy. I've been home every day for weeks. The one day I was busy, Snap had surgery, SDX dropped. So it's kind of laughable. As part of a collab with Ebonics and Dark and Lovely, they added some swatches to 2 of the black hairstyles in the game. They're really pretty. They're very colorful and really cute. And they're meant to be adding another like brand new, not just swatch, recolor new hairstyle pretty soon as well. And I just think that's really cool. First of all, Ebonics is like making waves in the Sims community. She has done so much for us. She was really heavily involved in the skin tone swatch update a while back as well. And she's just absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna link her stuff down below too in case you want to go and check her out. But we did get that SDX drop on Tuesday. So if you saw that in your game and you're like, wait, what happened? It was new hair swatches. And then the other life update is the cat surgery thing, which I mentioned earlier. So just in case you've not been around and you've missed it, I'll give you like a brief rundown. My cat Snap, who's behind me, is almost 16 and we adopted her when I was 9. So I grew up with her. She's been my best friend for like as long as I can remember. We moved out together as well. That was mostly because she didn't love my parents' dogs. So we thought it would be better for her if she came to a dogless household. So I lived alone with her for years. She was like my rock and my only friend when I was alone during COVID and stuff. I mean, this cat is really my best friend. Well, she had a lump kind of show up on her leg. I keep saying her leg, it's more like her hip. Took her to the vet, they did some tests on it. Turns out it was cancerous, and so we decided to operate on it to remove it. They were a little bit worried about operating just because she's older and she has kidney disease and stuff, but that's just kind of the safest bet because obviously alternative is a cancerous lump on your leg. So we decided to go ahead and do the surgery. Did that on Tuesday. So I dropped her off at 7:30 in the morning. She was there pretty much all day. Then the vet called around 2 to let me know how it went. The lump wasn't that big, but they had to do a massive incision because they're just worried about it spreading. You can't really tell if it had spread until they get the results back. And so the worst case scenario would be to operate now and then realize, oh God, there's more and we didn't get all of it. So they tried to like overdo it just in case, wide margins to be safe. So she has a massive incision. It's like over 6 inches big. I mean, it's like a quarter of the size of her body. They had to shave like the whole back half of her as well. The vet on the phone was like, you're gonna be horrified by how big it is, but I just wanted to be safe. They sent off the mass for testing, so we'll get the results back in 7 to 10 days, she said, which by the time you're seeing this will be like 3 to 6 days. So we'll see how that goes. I will let you know once we find out more about how it's going and stuff. They also did chest x-rays and things while she was under anesthesia, and she had some done only 6 months ago when she had her dental. She had to get some teeth removed and stuff. Oh my God, this poor cat has been through it in the past like 6 months, but she doesn't look worse than she did then. Like her heart looks okay still, her lungs look still okay. They haven't changed or gotten worse, so that's good. The vet was saying that she was really cold during the surgery, so they had to put socks on her, which kind of makes me want to cry, but is also a really cute thought. I don't really know how I feel about that. It's sad but cute. And then apparently when she woke up and she was sitting in her kennel, the vet went to take her temperature and Snap bit her. And personally, I don't blame her for that. Like that lady just cut you open and now she's trying to take your temperature. Absolutely not. You were not sticking that thing anywhere near me. But Snap is so gentle. She never, ever does that. I literally cannot imagine her doing that. So it kind of made me laugh when she said that, but good for you, Snap. Speak your mind, stick up for yourself. But then I went to pick her up around 4 that day. We brought her home. She's been wearing a soft cone. We've tried a regular hard cone. We've tried a surgery suit. We've been doing a lot of things to see what's best for her to keep her out of the stitches. We've had 2 really rough nights in a row. She has pain meds to take every 12 hours, and I can tell they start to wear off after like 8 or 9 hours, and then she gets really agitated and kind of aggressive afterward, which I know is her being like in pain. And so we called the vet and we're getting her some extra meds prescribed so I can give her those today. Again, when you're seeing this, I recorded this a few days before, so hopefully she's better by Sunday, but we're gonna kind of alternate those doses and give her those also just to help her with like the later half of the bigger meds. So hopefully that helps her. It's just so hard to watch her struggling and to know that she's hurting and stuff. I feel so guilty because I know what I did was best for her. Like I know I'm doing what's right and what's gonna keep her healthy and safe, but she doesn't know that. So like she's mad at me and now she's in pain and like I elected for her to have this surgery and I just, it's horrible. I just feel so bad. I think a lot of other pet owners can probably relate to that. It's just really hard. The whole thing's been very emotional and hard for me, and it's been worse for her, but it's just been been a really rough week, so bear with me as we're trying to do all this. I'm trying to like not miss uploads and stuff, but honestly, emotionally, I'm not handling this well. So we're getting through it. Hopefully she'll be better soon. That's kind of my big cat life update. So sorry to be like dropping all of that on you, but I figured a lot of you probably wanted to know because many of you have been watching my channel for a long time, so you know her very well and you're worried too. So we've mostly finished the downstairs of the build at this point. So we're going kind of upstairs now to work on some more of the decor up here. I have like a cute little nook of art studio space upstairs. There is a bathroom up here, and then we also have 2 bedrooms. So like I said, in total 3 bedrooms. I kind of was trying to go for this like boho vibe. I don't know if I really achieved that, but I did what I could with the options that we had, and I think it turned out all right. I will say, I am obsessed with the movie hangout rug. The rugs and the doors from that pack are really cool. There's some things in there that are a little bit much for me. Like the curtains are a bit much, some of the patterns are a bit much, but the rugs are cool. So I used one of them here in this like teens room I'm trying to build. We've got a really cool like pink and blue pattern on it. And then I used an eco lifestyle bed. If you've never seen that before, I don't blame you. It's kind of hard to get. That's one of the fabrication beds that you can make. So in eco lifestyle, a lot of the best build items are locked behind debug because you have to craft them in game with the fabrication station. So there's a ton of furniture like couches, beds, chairs, bookshelves, but this is one of those fabricated beds. So I used 2 of them in this house in both of the kids' bedrooms. This is a good example of, I think, eco lifestyle actually going kind of well with movie hangout, and you wouldn't think that it would. Like you wouldn't normally put those 2 packs together in your mind, but this time I feel like it actually kind of worked out nicely. So maybe that's the beauty of doing a random build challenge like this. It really forced me to get out of my comfort zone and try some stuff in different ways than I normally do. Oh, and you know what? That wall painting too, I do love that. I don't hate movie hangout. It has a few nice things. I'm gonna like call the video packs I hate or something kind of chaotic like that. I don't hate these packs. I do kind of hate them together, and I don't love these packs. These are probably one of my least favorite game packs and one of my least favorite stuff packs though. So I really did what I could. I'm so glad that you all can't see the suffering that we went through trying to build this, because we were really going through it for hours with this one live. It's a lot better sped up, you can't tell. But in this other kid's room, this one's for like a younger kid, I was kind of picturing. We have a cute like bird rug. We have some more vibrant rainbow colors in here. So we have a yellow bed, kind of like an orange corally color on the wall, and then some cute clutter and stuff. This kid has a huge balcony. Both of the upstairs bedrooms have balconies. There's a small one in the front and then a huge one in the back. And this huge one's got like a fancy pergola over it and stuff. That kid is like thriving. We'll go back and furnish it in a bit, but I'm gonna go downstairs and work on the primary bedroom now. This one I struggled with also a lot. I didn't really know what to do. I was trying to use all different swatches of that movie hangout rug. That was kind of the inspiration. I was basing each room off of that rug and like what colors it came in. But I just, again, I struggle so much with the mixing and matching of the patterns. When I look at all this together, I just think it looks bad. I don't know. I don't have the talent for this that some people possess. And you know what part of it is? Do you know what Vera Bradley is? Vera Bradley, when we were in high school, it was like very popular. A lot of the people tried to have Vera Bradley expensive lunch boxes, but it's like quilted, aggressively patterned, bright colors, and they make like tote bags and all kinds of stuff. Movie Hangout looks like Vera Bradley to me. And I can't really separate the like, honestly, I mean, it makes sense, 2015, 2016 energy of this pack from that. So maybe that's why I don't love a lot of these swatches. I'd be curious to know what your thoughts on it are, because I don't know, I can't do it. But I tried to use the Eco Lifestyle quilted bed, which is one of my favorite beds in the game. So I put that here with the same rug. We've got some kind of pretty bright colors on the curtains. I've got a nice painting on the wall, and hopefully that sort of ties it all in together. At this point though, we're pretty much done with all of the furnishings. We're just doing some last minute touches, painting the walls, getting some things like that all figured out. And then we have to go to the outside and do everything because we haven't touched it at all yet. This is probably one of the most rainbow builds I've done in a long time. So I'm kind of proud of myself for branching out and trying all these different colors, even if it was difficult for me. It's very different than my normal build style, and that's a good thing. It's fun to do stuff like that at times. I think favorite parts of the interior are probably the living room rug. I really actually like the floral pattern on that. I love the little desk nook by the front door, and I'm really glad I got to use the base game counters with the blue countertop. I never ever use those. It's so hard to find places for them. In this case, I thought it kind of worked really well. So I'm glad I got a chance to do that. But now we're actually moving outside and we've got a lot to think about. So out here, we have this kind of big pool area. I sort of tucked it away on the side of the building, and we've got like a split leveled back patio patio thing going on. I was just trying to figure out how to do that and like what to put around it so it made sense. I ended up going back in and using some landscaping there so we could wrap it around. You might have seen me earlier trying to do a lot of different fences on it just to see what worked. None of it really worked. I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I wanted to have a fence around the pool, but I wanted it to be low so you could still see the water from inside of the pool. I think that even this is too high, but we can pretend that it's not. It's The Sims, so they don't actually care about that, but I do. So I wanted to have a low fence with just some bushes around it. I went through and put a lot of plants pretty much everywhere. We were kind of trying to mix and match a lot of floral stuff too. The patio itself is quite big, so I wanted to have things like a bar, a grill, maybe a table, some places to sit, some lounge chairs. I got like a fire sprinkler system too. I need to put that thing in my builds more because look, I don't always love the thing automatically putting fires out because I am one to sort of like it when my Sims house catches on fire, but I'm kind of reaching a breaking point because I've been using this stupid fire toilet in my legacy challenge for so long and I don't know if I can handle it anymore. It's just non-stop catching on fire and it's not even funny. It's been years. So I need to start adding in more of those fire alarm systems because I just can't do it. I don't think I like the firefighters. I'm okay with this one because that thing on the wall right there is sprinklers, so it like automatically puts the fire out. The fire alarm that just calls the firefighters, they actually irritate me. They take too long to get there and then show up, barely put the fire out after I've already done it, and then say things like, oh, you should be more careful next time. You should hurry up next time. I've been standing here waiting for you. I almost died. Anyway, sorry, I just don't love it. Kind of typical of The Sims 4 for us to sit here and beg for something like firefighters for years and then get it and be like, ooh, actually I don't want it anymore. It's kind of like the wedding pack. I'd love to have wedding stuff in the game. Ooh, not really broken wedding stuff. I want to have like good wedding stuff. Wow, I have been rambling for so long. I'm so sorry. I feel like I get a pass for this today because I'm frazzled because of my cat, right? But we're finishing up some more of the exterior paint now. I just tried a few different colors. I didn't like any of them. Went back to plain white, so that's boring. But I think the windows are okay. The windows being quite vibrant, I think is a good thing because it's okay to have the white paired with them. And then as far as other landscaping goes, there's actually a fair bit of debug landscaping from the wedding pack that I wanted to use so it would kind of fit in with the environment. In particular, there's these really nice trees in the debug from Tartosa, and I used both of them. There's one that kind of has like fancy swoopy olive tree energy and one that has some pretty pink flowers. Loved having both. Oh my god, I hope I don't keep that chair. There's hot pink chairs in the front yard. Oh, Kayla, please change it. Oh no. I actually discovered one new thing from this pack. There's a really nice like outdoor chair, like outdoor bench seating chair from Movie Hangout, and it's got a couple of more simple swatches. I used one of them here. It's got a really fancy like big arched back and some cute pillows to it, so I used that in the backyard. When I went back upstairs to the little balconies, I wanted to put in things like maybe an easel, a telescope. I tend to use the same stuff over and over again for these, but it's just helpful for gameplay. It's nice to have a telescope. I got some questions in my chat about whether or not this telescope would work. It looks like it's undercover because it's underneath that pergola, but the game sees this pergola as an item and not as a roof, so you can use the telescope out there. You just can't use telescopes indoors, but this is still outside, so it's fine. It works plenty fine. I guess if you got struck by a meteor, it would like fly through the pergola, but hopefully that won't happen to you, so you'll be fine. It'll just look weird. It won't be broken. And that pergola, by the way, is base game. If you're looking for it, it's called a pergola. You can just look it up in build mode. That came out a few years ago, but it's a really cool item. I think it adds a lot to the back of this house. It also has some kind of interesting swatches. I used like a plain white version here, but there's a lot of other kind of more fun painted colors if you're looking for that. Also, I had a really weird bug when I was doing this, where when I tried to change the foundation, it wanted to delete a bunch of my decor inside. I don't understand why. This happens sometimes with painting walls, where I'll try and paint walls and the game wants to delete a lot of items that were placed with move objects. I still haven't completely worked out the root cause of that bug. Sometimes when you turn the move objects cheat off, it doesn't do the deleting anymore, but it takes some like messing with to like fiddle back and forth and see what's causing it and see if you can avoid it. In this case, the foundation was trying to delete my objects, so I couldn't change the foundation color. I've never had the foundation try and break objects guess, inside the house before. Especially not a regular foundation. Like, I guess I could see the stilted foundations doing that, but this was just a plain one. So I ended up not being able to change the foundation. I'm curious to know if you have ever encountered that with foundations specifically. I know it happens with wallpaper because it happens to me all the time with wallpaper, but I've never seen it with foundations. It's okay. It's just like a plain white default foundation, but it wasn't really what I wanted. It wasn't my preference. But in general, most of this build wasn't my preference. I kind of went back last minute and added a lot of hot pink accents, so it looks like I do keep those hot pink pattern chairs. But we have like some hot pink flower boxes. There's a hot pink monkey bar set. There's like some pink chairs in the back too. So I was trying to add some more color. I felt like the interior was very vibrant and very colorful, so I wanted to make the outside look like that too. I take back the chairs though. I wish that I did not use those. I'm looking at them and I'm like, wow. No, I don't know. This was so out of my comfort zone. I'm a little bit nervous to post it in case you hate it, but hopefully you like this build. We're just about finished. We're doing some last minute checking, fixing lights and wallpaper and seeing everything's okay. And that is pretty much the fully finished build, full of packs I dislike. So hopefully it turned out all right. I think considering what we got stuck with, Eco Lifestyle Movie Hangout and Wedding Stories do not go together, and I did what I could to make it feel like they did. And I guess that's the goal. The goal was to try and do a fun, vibrant, colorful build that was just different than my usual stuff. And this is definitely different for me. What I want to do now though is pop back into the game and show you a tour of the finished product. So remember, I built this over here on this 20 by 20 lot in Tartosa. If you're looking for this one on the gallery, I did build this a while ago. It's called the Boho Getaway and I built it in February. So you might have to scroll back a tiny bit. It cost 101,000 simoleons, only 3 packs though. And this is what the fully finished build looks like from the exterior. It's kind of funky in shape and in color, so I quite like how it turned out. I've got some cute things like this little birdhouse. That's from Eco Lifestyle. Totally forgot it existed. I got to use some of the movie hangout chairs that I never used. We've got some pretty like vines up the wall. These are also from Eco Lifestyle. I think the shining star are the windows and the door though. Movie hangout door, Wedding Stories windows, they work perfectly together. Kind of around this side, I put a really cute little monkey bar set, and then way in the back, we have a really nice pool and patio setup. I love the pool being tucked away down here. I've got some pink lounge chairs. We have some planter boxes. This is that kind of cute little chair that I mentioned. I totally forgot this thing was even there. So I kind of discovered something new with this chair. It has a couple decent swatches too. This plain one with just the blue pillows, you could totally use that elsewhere. Some of them are a bit much. Some are a bit much, but this one's all right. I like the pastels. And then down on this side, we've got like a little table and a grill too. I used the Wedding Stories chairs for this, base game table. And then when you come back inside, here's kind of like a top-down overview of the layout. When you first come in, you walk in this little front door. We've got kind of some funky stuff, I'm warning you. This is a table from Movie Hangout. I never use this either. Totally forgot it was there. But we have that as like a nice entryway table. We've got a little setup with some shoes and a mirror. This is the pretty dining table. And I remember I used to be obsessed with these lights. When the pack first came out, I used these everywhere. But that's over the dining table. We have a huge living room, lots of yellow accents going on. I tried to do orange for a while. It wasn't working. Went back to yellow. They have a nice TV out front. This is the kitchen area. I did put a popcorn maker. I also have some nice open shelving, and I kind of hate these counters, but in a way that is fun. I never use them, so it was nice to have a chance to, even if they're like a little bit ugly. And then down this way, we've got this super cute tiny little nook for an office space. They have like some corkboards with some postcards on it. And then this is that primary bedroom. They have things like a dresser and a bed. Totally forgot about this room divider. I know it's weird to just put it like in the corner, but I was trying to fill up space, okay? And then they have an ensuite bathroom. It's kind of a weird shape, but like maybe in a fun way. I don't know. I tucked the little shower back here in the corner. We have some orange tile. I tried to match like the black and blue on this mirror with the darker colors of the curtain. I'm not sure if I like it or not, but it's something. It's something. And then upstairs, we've got this cute little art nook right here in the corner. They do have a bathroom upstairs, also extremely chaotic in color scheme. It has green tile and these really bright, wild colors on the curtains. I've never used that swatch before, but I tried here. It's like hot pink and green, but it's the kids' bathroom, so I think that's okay. And then first, we have this kind of cute teens bedroom. So they have a computer, they have a little desk nook right here, surrounded by some curtains. I like this corner a lot with the light blue and the bed. I think that this actually looks really good together, and I've never thought to pair these items together. So I feel like I've kind of discovered something new with this rug too. This sim does have a private balcony, and I just put a little couch out there because it's quite small, but their sibling has a way bigger balcony. This one's a kid's room. It's kind of rainbow vibes because of the rug. I am obsessed with this. This dresser is just too cute. I think that worked out really well, and they have a huge sliding glass door to take them to their balcony. Oh no. Oh, it was clipping. I didn't notice. Ignore that, okay? They have a candle making station and also a telescope, and that is the fully finished build. We did it. I'm sorry I rambled so much, but I hope that you liked the video. I do a lot of building here on my YouTube channel. I'll do like live builds where I walk you through how we're doing it, and then I'll do speed builds like this sometimes where I've already built it and then I'm talking about it. And if you like this kind of thing, I mentioned it earlier, but I do stream every day over on my Twitch channel, and I play a lot of Sims over there. So I'll link that down below in case you want to go follow me. And with that, I'm gonna end this video. So thank you again, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Okay? Bye, everybody. Thankfully, Snap has been peacefully sleeping all day, so hopefully she's feeling all right now. I just worry about her so much. This has been such a hard week for me. I'm so sorry for being weird, but I'm really struggling, so bear with me.